experience.
I'm Pat Mayo. This is the Fantasy Football News and Injury Update for Monday, October 7th. I got pickups for you as well in every position. If you want the cheat sheet and don't want to watch, hit the description. The link to the newsletter is down there with all the updated info in it. Okay, Monday Night Football preview. Before we kick things off, Saints at Chiefs. Chiefs are a 5.5-point favorite, although the Saints are a very public underdog in this one. So be wary of that. Those don't tend to work out all that often. Injury report, Taysom Hill is going to be out. Ditto for Kendry Miller on the Saints side, which leads us to Alvin Kamara. Higher than 15.15 fantasy points on Underdog tonight for the game. Without Taysom Hill to steal those touchdowns, you gotta like the prospects of the number one running back in fantasy as it is without his main vulture around. This could be another opportunity where we get to use Kamara at a deflated fantasy points price than we're used to. So go higher on that. And if you use code Mayo right now at Underdog and you have not signed up before, you get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Also, you get a Patrick Mahomes free square for the game. Over or under 0.5 yards, I'll go over. You want to take advantage of that, and you can add it to the one that I'm giving out to make it 10 times your money. Turn 10 into 100, just like that at Underdog using code Mayo. Get that free square in you. Kamara, higher. Justin Watson, I like him the best of all of the tertiary Kansas City receivers after Worthy and Kelsey in this game. Higher than 25.5 receiving yards from Patrick Mahomes, and then higher on Rashid Shaheed, 8.85 fantasy points in this game. He's been over 3 of 4 games. He had the big goose egg to bring his average down, although he had 2 end zone targets in that game. He catches one, he goes over that number easily anyway. He's been well over in the other one. So you put those 3 together, it's 6-1. Use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now, and all of a sudden you get 10-1 when you add that Patrick Mahomes free square. Okay? The Vikings, Rams, Chiefs, and Dolphins all go on bye week in week 6. So that really does affect the injury report, especially at running back, because Devin Achane exited the game with a concussion, but now he has a bye week to get better, so he should be back. Ditto for Aaron Jones in the London game. Hurt his groin. That's like a 14-day injury, but he'll have 14 days to recover, so he'll probably be back for week number 7 as well in the Vikings backfield. Other than that, you have your existing injuries. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's still going to miss at least another week with this high ankle sprain. Who knows with Zamir White? Who knows with Devin Singletary? Jalen Warren expected to be out even longer for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. That's really what you're looking at the running back position for existing injuries, plus all the guys who missed week number 5, but that's going to be dictated in the practice report either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, so we'll get a better sense of that moving forward. Unless something breaks, then again, you can just hit the description, go get the quick update, because I'll update that every single day and when news items actually happen. You should sub to that free newsletter, by the way, and sub to the channel, and like this episode while you're here. The pickups for this week: Tank Bigsby coming in at number 1, Tyrone Tracy at number 2, Braylon Allen at number 3, Ty Chandler's at number 4. Maybe Aaron Jones is out longer. If I knew that, he'd be number 1, but it just doesn't look like he's going to miss any time. And these are pickups that are available in more than 50% of leagues. I'm using Yahoo. That tends to be the sharpest of all of the public fantasy leagues around. So I use that ownership and rostership for the pickup rankings. Madison, Sermon, Bucky Irving, Zamir White, Tajay Spears, Rico Dowdle, they're all over 50% owned, so they don't qualify for this list. Most of those guys would be better pickups than the ones I listed, but that's just not how this works, all right? Wide receiver injuries for the week. Nico Collins left after scoring a very long touchdown against the Bills against the Patriots this week, but Nico Collins is probably not going to play. We've seen hamstring injuries be a 2 to 4 week injury so far this season, so expect to be missing Nico Collins for some time. Maybe Xavier Hutchinson can get some run in the Texans offense. I wouldn't worry too much about the tertiary receivers on the Texans right now. Xavier Legette left the Bears-Panthers game with a shoulder injury. We saw more run for Jonathan Mingo. Not that that really mattered, but if you're thinking about using Legette against the Falcons this week in a really nice spot, you might got to pump the brakes on that one because he's probably not going to play. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are both expected back in Week 6, as is Lane Johnson and most of the Philly offense, so you might see a better version of that Philly offense in week number 6. Malik Neighbors should be back next week. Don't know about Shakir. That's going to be on Monday Night Football, so we'll figure that out later on in the week. Romeo Doubs might get traded, might get cut. He might be back for the Packers, but Christian Watson likely will not be for them. Ditto with Devontae Adams and the Raiders. Maybe he gets traded and he plays, who knows, but that ankle injury is going to keep Christian Watson out for looks like an extended period of time. Then you got Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer for the Buccaneers with the 10 days of rest. Both should be back with the hamstring and concussion issues. Cooper Kupp could return after the bye week, by the way, which affects the wide receiver pickup rankings for the week. I have Quentin Johnson at number 1. Apparently everyone dropped him during the bye week. He's like 20% owned. Pick him up. He's been fantastic so far this season. He's number 1. Darnell Mooney's number 2. I think that's really the line right there. Both those guys should be on almost everyone's roster unless you play in like an 8-team league. Tolbert, Josh Downs, Justin Watson, and then Jordan Whittington, who's going on by. If Cooper Kupp comes back, Jordan Whittington is pretty unownable because he's playing the Cooper Kupp role. I'd still rather have Tutu Atwell than these guys anyway, but he hit the threshold last week. So Quentin Johnson, Darnell Mooney, then you have Jalen Tolbert, Josh Downs, and Justin Watson. Wendell Robinson's only owned in 53% of Yahoo leagues, by the way. So if he's available, make him the number 1 pickup because he has double-digit targets in 2 of 5 games, 9 and 8 in 2 other ones. I don't know why that guy wouldn't be owned, but here we are. So if you're playing the 47% of leagues where he is not, go pick him up right now. Tight end, Michael Mayer missed the game with a personal issue. Evan Ingram did not return from his hamstring injury. He should, you'd think, fingers crossed, be back for week number 6. None of these guys are really worth picking up, honestly, this week. If it's like Cade Otton, Tyler Conklin, Zach Ertz, Colby Parkinson, although he's on bye, and when he returns, like if you really need 5 fantasy points, Colby Parkinson's your guy. Those guys are kind of useless. You're probably just better off picking up Taysom Hill if he was dropped and putting him on your bench if you have a crappy tight end situation and see where you go from there. I guess if you play in a league of Lenny's, maybe Tucker Kraft could still be out there. I think he's available in like 35% of leagues. Go pick him up and make him the number 1 priority for you at tight end if you need a tight end, if he's there. But any like real league, he's not going to be available. At quarterback, Anthony Richardson missed the week, but I don't know if that's actually better for the Colts receivers or not. That's why I put Josh Downs a little bit lower. I think he functions better with Joe Flacco than Anthony Richardson, but I think Anthony Richardson does come back in time this week. Will Levis should return as well in that same game with the Colts from his shoulder injury they sustained on Monday night 2 weeks ago, coming off the bye week. In terms of pickups this week, Caleb Williams is number 1 at home against Jacksonville. That's a really nice spot. King Caleb looking a little bit better the past few weeks and putting up some fantasy points as well, and had a touchdown call back on the ground, which really would have boosted up that fantasy day in week number 5 against the Carolina Panthers. Speaking of the Panthers, Andy Dalton is number 2 against Atlanta at home. Daniel Jones at number 3, Sunday Night Football at home against the Bengals, who have a terrible defense, by the way. Then Derek Carr against Tampa Bay. Kirk Cousins didn't hit the threshold. He's 51% owned. He would be probably number 2 on this list at Carolina, ahead of Andy Dalton. So maybe he is available in your league if you do want to go pick him up right now. And then defense, streamer-wise, again, these are all in the newsletter link that's in the description right now. Philly at home against Deshaun Watson. Houston at New England, number 2. Indianapolis at Tennessee. Green Bay at home against Arizona. And then Atlanta at Carolina are the top 5 streaming defenses of week number 6 if you want to get ahead of the game. Okay, that'll do it for me. Sub to this channel, smash like to the episode, code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy. And if you want all of the pickups and injury reports and all of the updated versions, it's very easy. In the description right now, you will find the link to the Mayo Media newsletter where I update everything. All right, I'll be back with Jake Seeley on Monday if you're looking for him with power rankings and team-by-team fantasy previews.
Mayo Experience! Experience!